Hey y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and Scott Jennings roasts this know-nothing reporter who should probably spend more time doing some basic research than spewing this sort of nonsense. Let's dive in.
You cannot say it is just, like, you can't just say it's the left that is violent. We had an insurrection at the Capitol.
You had one bad day. And what is going on the left right now?
Hey,
vandalism.
Scott,
Luigi
you called it an insurrection perpetrated by the president.
Unbelievable. I mean, and the adherence to trying to keep these violent, illegal aliens in the country. The left has a problem with violence. It is in its heart right now.
I don't think it is only the left. I mean, you have literally seen people on both sides committing violence. I think that the problem is not the left. I think it is the extremes on both sides of the party. And that is what's happening. Like, they're the loudest voices, whether the leaders want them or not. And they're the ones who tend to be the most violent. I don't think that's fair to say it's only the left. I mean,
but why is it happening? Why do late night comedians go on TV and encourage or coddle or give lip service to this vandalism of what went on with Tesla dealerships and so on? Why are there so many prominent people?
People didn't get hurt.
I totally get why Luigi
died on January 6th.
Like, why? I don't
listen. I'm not for vandalism, but like,
it's more than that. They firebomb these things. Like it's obviously
dangerous, but it's happening on both sides.
What
one
person on the right is committing violence today?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, when you're in power, you don't tend to be the ones that are doing that. But I think after they lost the election in 2020, there was a mob and a person died, and it was a riot at the Capitol. It was crazy.
It was a terrible day, and it should not have happened.
It was a horrible day.
And
it's not the only
just check my calendar, and it was 5.5 years ago.
Can we also talk about the fact that someone broke into Nancy Pelosi's house and violently beat up her husband?
You're saying that homeless drug addict is a conservative?
Well, I mean, why do you think she was targeted?
Why do I think a literal crazy homeless person in San Francisco did something? I couldn't begin to tell you, but I know it's this. They weren't coming to the Republican Party. People on both sides
have faced assassination attempts. This is a thing that is not just, it's not just a singular party thing. And I don't buy that. Like, it's not a singular party thing. Mm. There are radicals on the left and there are radicals on the right. There is radicalism, and people choose what they want to believe, and they believe it so much that they want to hurt people. I mean, you see it all the time.
I think you are discounting the very obvious evidence that this radicalism on the left is more than radicalism. It's anti-Americanism. It's anti-Western civilization. I mean, just look at the coddling and the encouragement of what's going on these college campuses. I mean, this is not just about the political fight of the day. The fight is for the future of the country. The fight is for the future of the West. And the left right now, all these people who are trying to tear down America and tear down the West inhabit the left, and they largely inhabit the Democratic Party, whether you like it or not. That's where those people's political home is right now. And until they get rid of it, they're going to have a real problem. And I think the country is onto it. I mean, these campuses and what's going on around the October the 7th issue and what's going on around anti-Semitism in this country, it's crazy. I mean, look at this guy that just killed these two people in Washington, D.C. Where do you reckon that guy came from? Oh, he came from one of these socialist progressive organizations. That's where he came from. His dad was a member of Congress guest at the president's speech in March. I mean, They have violence in their heart, and they need to get rid of it, is my view.
Unfortunately, Scott, violence will never not be a part of the leftist mantra. And they're never going to get rid of that because they're born out of it. Reminder, folks, during World War I, Germany released Vladimir Lenin into Russia. And within months, the Bolsheviks had completely torn down the country. When Mao was also fighting the Japanese, he was also taking a few pot shots at the nationalist forces, and once he finally took power, there was a massive purge inside of China. And then, of course, there's the granddaddy of them all, and that is the French Revolution, where there was something called the Reign of Terror that ended up with the execution of at least 50,000 people, although some numbers go as high as 100,000. all because people didn't quite have the right political opinions and weren't a part of the revolutionary spirit. That's what leftism does, ladies and gentlemen. It is an inherently violent movement. And this reporter, Palmeri, you can tell by her body language, and you can't see it too much, but you can see the eyes flipping back and forth, realizing that I have nothing to say to get out of this little trap that I've accidentally laid for myself. Hey, y'all, here's the deal. Gold loves President Trump. Under Trump's first term, the price of gold soared 53%, and the price of silver jumped 51%. Since the start of the second term, gold has skyrocketed even higher, breaking records and even outperforming stocks. Here's what I like about precious metals like gold and silver. They have been used as a store of value for centuries. Governments can't easily manipulate it. They are used as hedges against market risk and, of course, against inflation. That's why I partnered with the amazing people over at Goldco. Goldco is an award-winning precious metals company. They are fans of this show, and they have helped millions of Americans just like y'all to purchase over $3 billion in gold and silver. Right now, you can get a free copy of their 2025 gold and silver kit. On top of that, you might also qualify for their amazing unlimited silver bonus offer. So don't wait on this. Go to politabrawlgold.com to learn more. That's politabrawlgold.com or call 855-644-GOLD. The American people are starting to understand fundamentally that certain mantras, certain ideas, certain narratives don't work anymore. Okay? The narrative around that cold day in January back in 2021 doesn't exactly work, particularly when you remember that the Speaker of the House is supposed to run security, and Nancy Pelosi at the time refused help from the National Guard, refused help from President Trump himself, who wanted to give her more security forces, and also refused the information quite literally being given to her by her own Republican colleagues, saying, hey, there's going to be a protest here, you might want to beef up security. And then to wave that bloody shirt time and time again, when we have seen even weirder instances of violence in our own country. Has everyone already forgotten the Seattle Autonomous Zone, where members of Antifa decided that it would be a fun idea to have their own little independent area? Yeah, that did not end well for the people living there, as there were multiple fatalities because of the lawless violence. Then, back home in Atlanta, in South Atlanta, there's something called Cop City. And that's basically a very large police training academy that was constantly being threatened by literal Antifa forces, and there have been violent attempts to destroy the building. It failed, thankfully, because even in Democrat-controlled Fulton County, they know that law and order is probably a good thing. And at the time of the Summer of Love, I happened to be running medical supplies. And I got lucky enough to navigate traffic just good enough to that the people that had shut down, there was an entire mob that assembled right outside of the Varsity. They had shut down the northbound lane of the merge. Fortunately, I had just enough time to escape and make my medical delivery and, actually help out someone, and then took some back roads to get out of Atlanta. Because at the exact same time I made the drop-off, they were burning the CNN Center. Yeah, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. There's a whole weight of evidence on one side, and then Scott Jennings said it right. One bad day on the other. And somehow the mainstream media weighs one more than the other. Now, I think I pointed out that left-wing violence is just inherent to leftism. And I have to warn y'all that it is getting worse. The incubators for that system isn't just the education. It isn't just what they have been putting out in Hollywood for the past decade. It's something a little bit deeper. And if you ever go on Reddit, which I urge you not to do not go on Reddit. All right, that is a cesspool. What used to be Twitter, it's now Blue Sky, and then still on parts of Twitter, there is a cesspit of people spewing violent rhetoric, and eventually it manifests itself. And the most recent manifestation that we know of was the assassination of 2 Israeli staffers on an event, just outside of an event in Washington, D.C. that was designed to help mend relations. Quite literally, the party that was going on was a reception for ambassadors trying to work across the aisle. And someone thought it would be a good idea to have a random moment of violence, and 2 staffers paid the price that day. Police identified the suspect in the shooting as Elias Rodriguez of Chicago. When he was handcuffed and being escorted by the police, he shouted, "Free, free Palestine." Ladies and gentlemen, Scott Jennings is 100% correct. And this is the difference between Republican and Democrat rhetoric. When Republicans are getting hyperbolic, they're trying to make a point. When Democrats are getting hyperbolic, that's what they're ultimately wanting. They want to be taken seriously because that rhetoric is something that they actually believe in. That's the goal. So Scott Jennings is right. This reporter knows who her audience is, and she's just, you can see that she has a deer in headlights look right there at the end. She's looking left, she's looking right, trying to regain herself. She knows she's supposed to stop Scott Jennings, but that's not going to happen, because he's too good at what he does, and she knows deep down that there is something that he says is fundamentally true, but she doesn't have the guts to say it. That's the sad reality of mainstream media and now new leftist media outlets. They know what's true, and they refuse to say it. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Politbro. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Until then, y'all have a good one.